There's a specific moment when everything changes, not when she leaves, not when the arguments start, but when he finally sees the pattern he's been ignoring for months. This is a story about a man who gave everything, his time, his energy, his consistency, and somewhere along the way he started to notice something. The effort was never matched, the energy was never returned, and slowly, quietly, he began to realize the truth. It wasn't a priority, he was just convenient. Starts small. He texts in the morning, she replies in the afternoon. He asks about her day, remembers the details, follows up on things she mentioned last week. She responds with short answers, generic replies, nothing that shows she's been thinking about him when he's not around. He makes plans, clears his schedule, shows up early. She cancels last minute. Something came up. A friend needs her. She's tired. He understands. He always understands, so he waits. He waits for the text that says, "I miss you," without him saying it first. He waits for her to initiate, to ask about his day, to show the same curiosity he shows her. He waits for her to make him feel like he matters. But here's what he notices. When someone else calls, she answers. When her friends text, she replies immediately. When she wants something, suddenly she has time. Suddenly she's available. Suddenly he's important, till he's not anymore. And that's when it hits him. He's not her person, he's her option. He starts replaying conversations in his mind. Every time he initiated, every time he adjusted his schedule, every time he made himself available while she kept him in rotation, he realizes something painful. He never had to choose him, because he was always there. Thinks about the nights he stayed up talking to her when she was upset, the times he dropped everything when she needed support, the consistency he showed even when she disappeared for days, and he wonders, would she do the same for him? The answer sits heavy in his chest. No, probably not. Not because she's a bad person, but because you don't prioritize what's always available. You don't chase what's already caught. You don't value what costs you nothing, and he had cost her nothing. This pattern is more common than people admit. It's called intermittent reinforcement in psychology. Just enough attention to keep someone hoping, just enough effort to prevent them from leaving, just enough breadcrumbs to maintain the connection without actually feeding it. And for men especially, there's a unique pain in this. Society tells them to be providers, fixers, the strong ones. So when they give and nothing comes back, they don't just feel disappointed, they feel like they failed. They internalize it. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe if I just tried harder, maybe if I was more interesting, more successful, more something, she'd prioritize me. They blame themselves for someone else's lack of investment. But here's what that moment of realization teaches. You can't love someone into loving you back. You can't out-effort someone's disinterest. And most importantly, being someone's option doesn't make you less valuable. It just means you're with the wrong person. So what happens after this realization? For some men, nothing changes immediately. Hope lingers. What-ifs creep in. What if she's just busy? What if I'm overreacting? What if I give up right before it gets better? For others, something shifts. Quiet decision forms, not made in anger, not announced dramatically, just a simple internal knowing. I deserve more than this. He stops texting first, not as a game, but as a test of reciprocity, and the silence that follows tells him everything he needed to know. He stops over-explaining himself, stops justifying his feelings, stops shrinking his needs to fit her availability. He starts choosing himself, and that's when the real growth begins. See, being someone's option creates a specific kind of exhaustion. It's not just about unrequited feelings, it's about the constant self-negotiation. Am I asking for too much? Is wanting consistency too needy? Should I just be grateful for whatever attention I get? It's the mental gymnastics of making excuses for someone who isn't making time. It's the emotional labor of staying invested in someone who's only half in. It's the slow erosion of self-worth that happens when you consistently put someone first who constantly puts you second. The moment he realizes he's just an option, that's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of understanding his value, the beginning of setting standards, the beginning of recognizing that real love doesn't feel like begging for scraps of attention. If you've ever felt this way, understand something. The moment you realize you're just an option isn't a moment of defeat, it's a moment of clarity. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you know your worth, you can't unknow it. And once you understand that you deserve someone who chooses you consistently, not just conveniently, everything changes. You stop waiting, you stop wondering. You start walking toward people who meet you where you are, who show up the way you show up, who make you feel chosen, not optional. That's where real peace begins.